This is Lojane. She mentioned that the character jumps back to bind pose. So let's take a look at the file here. What you can see is that if I select one of the animated controls, that red line means there's a keyframe at frame 1. And so if you change anything and you don't keyframe it, it jumps back to that pose. If you do keyframe it, so if I select this, move it, and hit S for set keyframe, it'll stay in that pose. Another thing you can do is turn on auto keyframe, which is this button right here. The key symbol turns red. And now anything that has already been keyframed, if you change it, it will set a keyframe. So that now sticks. But it only keyframes things that have already been keyframed. So if it hasn't already been keyframed, then it won't set a keyframe. But in this case, it looks like all of the controls have been keyframed, so it should stick. It looks like you have some surfaces, at least in my view. It may not look like this for you, but if it does look like this for you, go into Surfaces, Edit NURBS, Reverse Surface Direction, and then that should go back to normal. I like to do wireframe unshaded just to see some of the stuff, see if the eyes are working. Looks like you don't have eyebrows. You might want to put eyebrows in there. Blend shapes, working. Okay, good. Yeah, it's looking good from what I can see. Here's Lucas. Looks like you got that working well. So it's looking good. Let's show all so we can see the controls. Let's not show all. Let's show the NURB surfaces, the polygons, and the locators. And I think we'd want the handles. Handles? Is that what those are? Yeah. Okay. Just sort of spot checking him, seeing he's working. That's moving very nicely. Good job. Looks great. The boots look great. Look at that spur. That's cool. Yeah, it's working well. Nice. Yeah, a lot of character to this one. Really good work all around. Yeah, I can't find anything wrong with it. Great. So there's a lot of issues listed by Vici's file. So let's start with the legs breaking apart and see if we can figure out what's happening there. So it could be a number of different things here. Just want to see if there's any color or they're just black. So first I'm going to check what they're parented to. And it looks like you've parented them to the joints. And there's also some input history, this curve from ISO thing. So let's delete history. So let's see what this leg is doing first. So you can see that's flying off. And now let's select this and delete history. Edit, delete by type, history, and it gets rid of that stuff. And now let's try moving that again. Okay, so see how that top part is now sticking? let's try that again for the bottom part. Edit, delete by type. History. Okay. Okay. So we could probably repeat that for this and this. I'm just going to use G for most recent function. And okay. So now the boots are not moving with the feet, and that's because they're not bound to it. So let's start with this one. So what I'm going to do is first select all the surfaces. So I'm going to turn all objects off and in the pick mask here and turn on just surfaces and select all these surfaces, but not the leg since that's parented. And then let's turn that off and turn on joints. And I'm going to carefully select each of these joints: the knee, ankle, heel, ball, and toe. And I'm going to go to animation, skin, smooth bind option. I'm going to use selected joints, and we'll use closest distance. And max influence is 3. Bind. Okay. Oh, let's turn everything back on again. All objects on. Okay, there's one little thing flying off there. I don't know what that is. Nerve sphere. Do we even need that at this point? I suspect. Yeah, so that's both bound and parented. It needs to be one or the other. So what you could do is so nerve sphere 7. I'm just going to copy that name. So I could, if you could probably just delete it, but if you want to keep it for some reason, you can select it, select, and paste, enter, and then do Shift P to unparent it. Oh, okay, I didn't like that. All right, well, again, if we're not going to see it, I would just delete it. I think you'll be fine with that. So then just repeat that on the other leg, just like I did for that leg. And yeah, you need to, bind or parent the arms and bind the hand. The hand has to be bound because it's all one thing. And you need to bind the, whoops. Yeah, need to bind the body and stuff. So it looks like you need to go through and bind the rest of these. So, yeah, I mean, take a look at the video and see if you can get that working. And if you're still stuck, I can, continue this. But I think most of that should be covered in the video. So let me know if you get stuck, though. The eyes seem to be working okay. Oh, the eyebrows is an issue. So you've got these controls. They don't seem to be connected to anything, but oh, I guess that one is. Oh yeah, so some of these are. So not sure what the issue is, but yeah. If you need to add more attributes, just make sure this is selected and modify. Add attribute, attribute name, and then that'll show up right there. So yeah, you should be able to make those controls. Let me know if you run into trouble with that. Looks like the character needs to be still bound and all that. So okay. So this is Malcolm. Looks like it's working okay. It's always great to turn in the My file so I can take a closer look, but from this it looks good. Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't see any problem. You can always put the other heads on a layer, and yeah, adding a nose and ears would be good. It says Victoria. Okay, we got this guy. Seems to be working pretty well. Nice. And is this the eye control stuff? It's kind of unusual. I guess if you're going to have these, you should scale them down so they're easier to select. So yeah, I think the main thing is to build the eye controls, which I don't know if that's meant to be the eye controls, but either way, at least you could have the eyebrow controls as well. Looks like some little piece flew off here. I don't know if that's like a missing, looks like that's a missing finger piece, so you might want to get that moved back. I would probably, it looks like it is attached to the skin cluster. Is it also parented to the joint? That might be the problem. No, I don't know, it seems to be moving evenly with it. So I would unlock this. Where's unlock? Okay, and oh, that piece itself is keyframed? It's a little bit odd. Just want to see if any of this other stuff is keyframed. Oh, I can't tell because it's locked. I wouldn't think it should be keyframe. Let's delete selected. And hold down V, middle mouse drag to snap that into place. Put that back here. Let's see if that's going to stick from the binding. Oops, turn these all back on. Seems to be working. Yeah, I think that's alright. Cool. Yeah, other than that, this looks good, and you know, you might have been more challenging with the robot stuff, so that's good. Here's Lee. And that's looking good. Looks like you're missing the sole there. But yeah, I don't think you need it because you've got this. I would probably just delete that surface there. I don't think you need to see that. But yeah, it seems to be working. Got those eye controls. I might move these a little further out. That might be a little challenging to select those if they're so close. Those seem to be working. And yeah, all of it seems to be working pretty well. Good work. Here's Ryan. Just wants to play. There we go. Okay, looks like you got that working well. Let's take a look at the file. Okay, this looks good. Let's just show our locators, handles, and locators. Okay, that all seems to be working well. I don't know why my manipulator suddenly isn't showing up. Very strange, but I'm just using my middle mouse drag to move it around. Good. Yeah, everything seems to be working well. Here's Robert. Okay, it's working well. So yeah, this looks good. Let's show our locators and handles. Alright, all that seems to be working well. Yeah, I can't seem to find any problems with this, so yeah, great work. Nancy mentioned there's some things that need to be corrected. Let's take a look. So I can see that this boot stretching, one is pulling on the other. There's also stuff going on with this hat and hair, so let's try and tackle these. The boot situation is probably a weighting situation. And a couple different ways we could approach this, but so the problem is that these points have some weight on them. Why am I not seeing the points? No, I'm seeing the points and too much else. I guess I need this guy on. Okay. No, that's edit points. I shouldn't need that. That's a little bit strange. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I could fiddle around with it, but I'm just going to leave that for the moment. So let's do this. So I'm going to select the surface, right mouse click, go down to paint, skin cluster weights. Now I'll go, let's show joints. Could be the points aren't showing up because of something in here was hidden. I'm going to right mouse click on this knee and say select influence, and I might see a little bit of, it might be just a little bit less than black, but the thing is, so I have this surface selected as the surface I'm editing the weights for, and I have that knee, it says left knee here, that I'm changing the weights for. And so if I replace, see, I'm going to say replace with a value, don't leave opacity alone, just use a value, with a value of 0, flood. You see that move back a little bit? Alright, let's pick the next one down, select influence, again. This one, again, we don't want any of these joints affecting that surface. It's not letting me pick those, maybe they don't have any influence on it, okay? So, and let's pick this surface and repeat. So I'll hit the paint weights tool here and right mouse click, select influence. Again, we have replace, value of 0, flood. Good. See if this one has any influence. No. Okay, and then this guy, paint weights again, right mouse click, select influence, flood. Okay, and what about down here? Flood. Select influence, flood. There we go. See that little move? So just move that bit by bit. So we're making sure none of those things. So let's see how this leg's moving now. Looks okay. So basically you would just repeat those steps for this boot. And essentially what you're saying is that those surfaces have no, the joints on the opposite leg have no influence on those surfaces. That's when you said replace with 0. You're saying the amount of influence the selected joint has on the selected surface is 0. Alright, let's take a look at this head issue. So typically when I see this, it's that something is both. Boy. Okay. So yeah, you definitely want to delete history before you bind it. So the first thing I'm going to do is delete non-deformer history, delete by type non-deformer history, and that keeps that skin cluster, which is like the binding thing, on there. These actually we want the history on to do the blink thing. Okay, now those appear to be parented to the root. So let's get the root back to 0, and hopefully that'll reset the. Oh, it's like at 8 something, which isn't great. Because I don't know exactly what this was at. Because it's not like a whole number. Alright, well, let's hope that's it. So let's see what happens if we unparent the hat. I'm going to select the hat and do Shift P. Please don't fly off. Didn't fly off. And now let's move him. Okay, see how that hat's staying put, but the other stuff isn't? So what else? All of that stuff. So yeah, for example, the hair, Shift P. See, that's what happens sometimes. Let's see what happens if we unlock this and do that. Ah, good. Okay, and there was other stuff as well. Oh, those eyelids are not lined up. Tell you what, let me reopen the file. So I reopen this just to make sure that he's in the right starting position. So when I go to fix that head stuff, I lost my fixes on the legs, but that's easy to fix. So yeah, let's Shift P. Let's unlock this first. Unlock selected. And then Shift P. And then also delete non-deformer history. Delete by type, non-deformer history. And then root. So yeah, it's these weirs. I'm just going to set a keyframe on that just so I can easily go back to that position in case I move it out of that position. So turn off auto keyframe. Let's unlock these. Shift P. I didn't want to do that. So unlock this guy. I just undid that. Shift P, and let's see if when I move that it works. Okay, and so now we got these eyelids. Unlock selected. Shift P. So what's left? The eyebrows. Oh. Okay, why are they going crazy? That's weird. So they're not parented to anything. There is this interesting. Oh, I think it's this thing moving when I move the whole character is causing this sort of. That's not it. So, okay. So that is probably one of something here driving that. I don't know. Actually, why would that be the case? It's interesting when that's all zeroed out. They seem to stick okay. And then when I do that, it goes berserk. Interesting. There's something funny about the way that's set up, I think. Because I wouldn't see why moving this should affect those. So I am having trouble figuring out why those are acting like that. So what I might do if I were you is I would just break this and build it again. So if I break that, let's see if it's still happening. Aha, so it's not because of that. I'll also delete the history, edit, delete by type, history, and let's bind that to the head joint again. Skin, bind, smooth bind, options, selected joints. Let's do max influence of 1. Bind skin. Okay, it appears not to be flying around now. Not sure why that happened. Let's try this one. First I'll delete the history. Then I will bind it again using those same settings. Okay, they don't seem to fly around. Now I broke this stuff on his left eyebrow, but not his right, so yeah, that's still working. Okay, so don't up and down's broken. Oh, that one. Oh, okay, that was the left, which I did break. Okay, yeah, so delete history and then bind it again with the options I showed you, and that should fix that one. Okay, so those are some fixes on this guy. This is Sheng Tsing. Same problem I went over earlier about that pose not staying, so that's because there's a keyframe set. So see in that first frame? So then if you move it and then hit S to set keyframe, it'll stick, or you can turn on auto keyframe here and you'll see you'll move it and it'll stick. So there's that, and let's just see, seems to be moving pretty well. Everything seems to be working from what I can see. Oh, I selected the wrong thing there. Maybe a little bit too much color moving with that, but I mean, I would almost say I think you want that not moving at all with the head joint. So once again, I'll select this, right mouse click, paint, skin cluster, skin weights, and I think what I would do, well, we could just right mouse click, select influence. We could do the same thing as removing it. The problem is you don't necessarily know where it's going to put the weights when you do remove, but by that I mean replace with a value of 0. So I have replace on, I have 0 in the value. I always leave opacity alone. Let's flood. And you see that color went away right away. So if I rotate that head around, Okay, so must be on another joint. So again, in the paint tool, we did that one. Let's try this one. There's more weight on there. Try that one. And this one for good measure. And, probably lower down here we would want it to move some if you're going to use that joint. So now I rotate this around because it is still moving with it. Oh, so here's an example where it might remove it from one joint and add it to the other because we're only removing and then it has to add it somewhere. I'm going to select a hole. And then let's add this to, let's say this one. So maybe you want to just put, now we'll replace with the value of 1, so all the weights go on that joint. So now if I rotate his head around, it doesn't move at all, which probably it wouldn't. But if you move this neck, can you move this neck? It does move with it, which is probably good because you wouldn't want the head going through there. And it might if it's rotating from the neck, or at least might be more likely to. And if it made more sense to have that go to the chest, you could do that as well. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. I don't know. It's hard to tell if you set up that mouth thing I showed you. I'm thinking maybe you did. Be cool to see that in action. Okay. Here's Brian Johnson. Looking good. Coat's gonna be tricky. No, let's take a look at Maya. Looks like you got rid of that. Oh, you've got it over here. I see. Yeah, it's probably just as well. Okay, those seem to be working pretty well from what I can see. Whoops, maybe I picked the wrong control there. Here we go. I like the face, has some character to it. Eye stuff seems to be working. Great, got some ears going, nose. It's working. Okay. Yeah, looking good.